Salakia, continuing, says the reason for this confusion, according to Lashbrook, is that separate cover files were created for each legitimate file. The cover files containing partial facts, false facts, or diversionary material were the ones presented to the investigative committees, while the real files remain exclusively under CIA control. Now, is you paying attention to what this says? It says the cover files containing partial facts, false facts, or diversionary materials were the ones presented to the investigative committees, while the real files remain exclusively under CIA control. So basically, what makes you think when they released this documentation, because of the Freedom of Information Act, that that's the real, you know, the real information? You know what I'm saying? You know, this devil, his power is in his ability to mislead and to deceive. You get what I'm saying? I mean, he has multiple gifts, just like we have multiple gifts. You know, we were just speaking about that in the camp. You know, there's no other people like the Israelites. Even in our low state, we outshine. If they take the time to think about this, if it wasn't Israelites in this kingdom, what kind of kingdom would this be? Like I said, I always think about. I think it was Apostle to Hart went into a video. He showed the Edomites when they first started basketball, and you know, they showed how the basketball. I mean, it was bored. It looked corny. You know what I mean? And then when you brought Jake in it, just like with all the sports, like look at MMA. You know what I'm saying? Back when you had Ken Shamrock and all them, you know, you had a few Jake in it, I guess. You always had like the northern tribes here and there, but now you look at it today, and I mean, it's that type of big money industry because of Jake, though. And that's just the truth. And if you want to deny that, then you just that show you how much you really the fucking devil. You know, at the end of the day, as much as like I heard a brother say before, at the end of the day, they hate us so much they hate us because they ain't us. You know what I'm saying? Like like what's that one dude that got is actually the picture of him is for the NBA logo, and they say that he looks like an Edomite, but I don't think that was an Edomite. I think that probably was a Jake. You know what I mean? Just like Larry Bird. You know what I mean? Like just because he appears like Edomite doesn't mean he necessarily Edomite. It's the spirit. You know. MK Ultra consisted of 149 sub-projects that were all aimed at mind control. The LSD experiments were a small part of it. However, it must be noted that LSD was first synthesized by Dr. Albert Hoffman in 1943 for Sandoz, a pharmaceutical company in Switzerland. The CIA, desirous of an American source of LSD, procured a grant for the Eli Lilly Company to manufacture and provide LSD to the CIA. However, as a whole, the sub-projects range from drug testing to behavioral studies and much, much more. The recurring theme in all these studies was the attempt to control human emotion, human thought, and human behavior by any means available. While the CIA funding was either covert or through front companies, many of the studies found their way into peer-reviewed literature as legitimate medical studies. As I've repeatedly stated in interviews, a great majority of the MK Ultra sub-projects were done at large, prestigious universities, not in dark dungeons at Langley. And that's majority of the time, that's how it goes down. Like when you go into the exoskeleton that DARPA developed, but they didn't develop it. They actually came up with the contract with a few different universities. I think the University of Berkeley was one of them. It was like three, they put it out there, and then it was like three actual universities that actually came up with workable prototypes. And then they and to show you how much money they got in that black budget, I mean, they was able to pay all three universities. You know, like one had a working system that worked this way, one had a working, I forgot who, like back, I was in the world when I was actually researching this, but I know Berkeley was one of them. It was like two more other ones. But like I said, that has already came to fruition. That's why when Obama was in office, he made that statement about we got Iron Man. He made that statement, we have Iron Man. And the thing is, as much as these politicians lie, you know, the truth be in plain sight sometimes. People took that as a joke when he said that, but he was actually being truthful. You know what I'm saying? Like so. And those in the know would know that. But let me see. It says CIA funding was either covert or through front companies. Many listen to this shit. While the CIA funding was either covert, meaning, you know, let's go into the word covert. Salakia. Says covert. Definition covert. Not openly shown, engaged in or involved. Covered over. Sheltered. Hiding place. A thicket. So basically, it's saying not openly shown. So who's to say how they got that money? You got to remember when you go into like the whole Rick Ross or Freeway Ricky Ross and just multiple different it's amazing to me how these people really trust in their government. Your government has made deals with not just the Operation Paperclip. When they talk about a war, they was over there trying to stop Germany, but then allowed Germans to come over here. You know what I mean? Secretly, and then you got the Freeway Ricky Ross thing to try and fund that war. They was selling drugs to the population. Not just that. You got, just multiple different times that they just do underhanded shit. You know what I mean? Then you got people that trust in this shit. Like, it'll show you how much the Most High really got them blinded. Many of the studies found their way into peer-reviewed literature as legitimate medical studies. To link the early MK Ultra experiments to the continuum mind control experimentations that is going on today, we will focus on several specific sub-projects. Thousands of people today are voicing complaints of subliminal control, hearing voices in their heads, and being attacked with direct energy weapons. The following sub-projects of MK Ultra paved the way for the experimentation we see happening today. Now, it's reading sub-projects 5, 25, 29, and 49. All these sub-projects were conducted by Alden Sears. They involve the study of hypnosis, recall of hypnotically acquired information, hypnotic techniques, and methods of hypnotizing unwilling subjects. All were labeled as top secrets. They were done under the auspices of the University of Denver and the University of Minnesota. These 4 sub-projects ran between 1953 and 1956 with an estimated budget of $75,000 US. Now, at that time, do you know how much $75,000 was? Right. Sub-projects 23 and 45. These sub-projects were contacted to Charles Gishner from 1953 to 1956 and were labeled as top secret. They were done under the auspices of the University of Richmond and the National Institute of Health. Sub-projects 23 involved the study of chemical agents that would modify the functions of the central nervous system. Sub-projects 45 through the NIH involved the developments of techniques to maximize physical and emotional stress in human beings. Did you hear that? Sub-projects 45 through the NIH involved the developments of techniques to maximize physical and emotional stress in human beings. So basically to stress you out. So therefore, because if they know how people react to when they're stressed, that is a form of manipulation, and manipulation is a form of control. Sub-project 68, directed by Dr. Ewan Cameron. This sub-project was conducted in 1957 at McGill University. It studied the effects of repeated verbal signals on human behavior. Cameron published his results in the American Journal of Psychiatry in an article entitled Psychic Driving. Psychic driving entailed de-patterning a subject through massive amounts of electroconvulsive therapy, drugs, and deprivation. Following de-patterning, the subjects were then played repetitive loops of recorded materials to recreate a new personality. Damn. Many victims were left incontinent, amnesiac, and unable to return to normal society. Dr. Cameron was the president of the American Psychiatric Association and was eulogized after his death as having made outstanding contributions to the mental health of the Canadian people. I gotta bring out a scripture. Bear with me for a second. So, lucky. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 5, verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Verse 21. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. So basically, did you understand what they just said? It says psychic driving and telling de-patterning the subject through massive amounts of electroconvulsive therapy, drugs, and deprivation. Following this de-patterning, these people were left incontinent, amnesiac, and unable to return to normal society. So this government, in the name of science and basically in their pursuit of power to control, they fucked up people's lives. So how could you possibly put your faith and trust in a system like this? Like at the end of the day, like man, everybody got a theory, but then they don't want to voice it, or I see this, but like man, scripture say, roughly paraphrasing, about who would stand up for me. You know what I mean? Like you got people that are trying to hold on to 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 this punk ass way of living when we don't have nothing as to get. I mean, we don't have nothing as it is. You know what I mean? The little shit you got is nothing. You know what I mean? When you take time to think about it, even like you got these celebrities that got money. You know what I mean? And on the outside looking in, it's always appears that's better than what you got your lot. You know, but like Jay Z, I don't even like Jay Z, but Jay Z made that statement. He said, "I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one," because money bring problems. You know what I mean? Like at the end, they like, and then especially in a wicked ass society like this, what people doing to hold on to the little money. I mean, like that's these things. It's not coincidence that all this is coming out. People think that Pizzagate thing was false or fake when that was real. You know what I mean? Like. Uh, I'm gonna stop there.